Welcome to another semester of short stories. I went a little overboard last semester, so I decided to keep things simple this time. This semester will be about Aesop's Fables. What is Aesop's Fables? It is a collection of old fables dating back to perhaps the 6th century BC. What is a fable? It is a fictional story designed to teach a specific moral lesson. Was Aesop a real person? Probably not, but ancient historians believed that he was. Some claimed that he was a slave from Asia Minor. Others said that he was an advisor to a king. But in all likelihood, Aesop was just a convenient name attached to a collection of short stories about animals. Where these stories originated is anyone's guess, because they developed from oral storytelling traditions. The collection of stories has changed a lot over the centuries because authors and storytellers kept adding to it. It might be more accurate to describe Aesop's Fables as an open-source project. So, I guess I will add my contribution to this project with today's story, The Cat and the Birds. Now the vocabulary. Aviary. Aviary. The man kept a fabulous aviary on his estate. Diminutive. Diminutive. Ant-Man is a diminutive hero. Gizzard. Gizzard. The bird's gizzard was full of small rocks. Godsend. Godsend. You are a godsend, Frank. You've been so helpful. Physiology. Physiology. A veterinarian must be familiar with animal physiology. Pro bono. Pro bono. The lawyer represented the woman pro bono. Specialist. Specialist. This problem requires a specialist. Veterinarian. Veterinarian. The veterinarian cured the cat of its disease. Before I begin today's story, I have to tell you that I'm doing something a little bit different this semester. I've asked my AI assistant Derek to read the stories for me. So this is a kind of experiment. I want you, the audience, to assess Derek's ability to read the story. Please leave a comment on the video, or you may email me at the email listed at the end of the video. Your feedback is very helpful for me because I can assess whether or not it's even worthwhile to use AI to do these videos. Thank you for your cooperation, and now, the video.
A long, long time ago, there was a farmer who owned an aviary. He was very proud of it because he had built it himself, and he filled it with a magnificent flock of plump, juicy pigeons. This flock was his pride and joy, and it made him a small fortune. So it was a great shock and cause for worry for him when some of his birds took ill. "Oh no," he exclaimed, "if my pigeons die, I'll be ruined." He immediately went in search of a veterinarian. Unfortunately for him, he could find none who specialized in avian physiology. As more and more of his birds fell sick, the farmer began to fall into despair. One day, the farmer heard a knock at his door. When he answered it, he was surprised to see a doctor of diminutive stature standing on his stoop. "Greetings," smiled the doctor as he gingerly tipped his hat. "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Dr. Felis, and I have come because I have heard that you are in dire need of a veterinarian." The doctor bowed and handed the farmer his card. The farmer, finding the doctor to be a little strange, took his time in reading the card. It read, "Dr. C. Felis DVM, Avian Specialist." The farmer took a second look at the doctor and noticed his orange complexion. "I think you may have applied too much bronzer, doctor," he said. The doctor laughed and replied, "Oh, this is just how I always look. It's a family trait." The farmer looked at the doctor's face and noticed how long and wispy his mustache was. "That's quite a mustache," commented the farmer. "I've never seen one like it before." The doctor laughed again and said, "Yes, I admit I'm a little vain, and I like to maintain a fashionable appearance. May I come in?" The farmer stepped aside and invited the doctor into his home. As he entered, the farmer couldn't help but notice the doctor had a furry tail. "Gosh," he exclaimed, "I've never seen anyone with a tail before." The doctor turned his head and responded rather curtly, "It's a birth defect, and I'd rather you not mention it. I'm very sensitive about it." The farmer apologized and escorted the doctor to the aviary. The farmer and the doctor stood at the entrance to the aviary. As the farmer explained the situation, the doctor nodded his head. "Do you think you could help, doctor?" asked the farmer. The doctor scratched his furry chin a little and replied, "Of course I can help. This is a very simple case of inflammation of the gizzard. However, I will need complete privacy to do my work, which will take a while. Why don't you go about your work and come back this evening?" The farmer, like all self-employed businessmen, could not agree to this without first discussing the price. The doctor laughed and replied, "Have no fear about the cost, my good man. I'll do this pro bono." The farmer shook the doctor's hand with such excitement that the doctor's hat nearly fell off. The doctor quickly placed his free hand on his hat to hold it in place. "Thank you," said the farmer. "You are a godsend." The birds were watching and listening to this conversation, and they did not like what they heard. Unlike the farmer, they were not fooled by the doctor's disguise. "Stop," squawked a bird. "Don't leave us alone with him. He'll eat us." The farmer turned his head in disbelief. "What did you say?" he gasped. The doctor laughed and said, "Oh, don't you know that this species of bird is known to imitate human voices? They just blurt out random words and phrases that they have heard. You don't need to pay attention to it." "Don't trust him," screeched another bird. "He's a cat." The doctor laughed again, but kept his yellow eyes locked on the bird who said that. The farmer was flabbergasted. "A cat," he mumbled. The doctor turned his eyes toward the farmer and begged him to leave so that he could begin his work. His hat tweeted a bird from a high roost. "Look under his hat, and you will see his pointy ears." The doctor laughed rather gruffly this time and said, "What ridiculous nonsense! You are a busy farmer, my good man. Surely you must have some work to attend to." All the birds in the aviary began squawking, chirping, and flapping their wings excitedly. "Don't fall for his tricks," they begged the farmer. The doctor began shoving the farmer out the door, but the farmer grabbed the door frame, took a hard look at the doctor, and said, "It's rude to wear a hat indoors. Why don't you hang it on the peg?" The doctor stopped and looked at the farmer for a second before he answered, "We're in the aviary. It's perfectly acceptable to wear a hat in here." "You wouldn't want such a fine hat to get dirty, would you?" said the farmer. The doctor smiled and replied, "This hat is easily cleaned. I don't mind." The farmer narrowed his eyes and growled, "Give me that hat." The doctor placed both hands on his hat and tried to run away, but was quickly swarmed by a dozen angry birds, who pecked and scratched at him until he released his hat from his grip in an attempt to swat away his attackers. The hat fell to the floor, and the farmer shouted, "Aha!" as he seized the doctor by the scruff of his neck. The fiendish feline smiled nervously and murmured, "You got me." A week later, a real veterinarian arrived from Athens. He tended to his avian patients with care, and all the diseased pigeons made a full recovery. The farmer thanked him and paid the bill. The veterinarian bowed and smiled. But before he left, he inquired about the farmer's strange hat. "Your hat, it's so orange. Where did you get it?" The farmer smiled and replied, "Oh, this? I got this from Dr. Felis."
Questions. Number 1. Why was the farmer falling into despair? A. He owed a lot of money. B. He lost his favorite hat. C. His birds were sick. D. He couldn't catch any birds for his aviary. The answer is C. Question 2. Who knocked on the farmer's door? A. The king. B. His father. C. A bird. D. An animal doctor. The answer is D. Question 3. Why were the birds not happy with the doctor? A. He was really a cat in disguise. B. He was charging the farmer too much. C. He was not good at his job. D. His hands were too cold. The answer is A. Question 4. What is probably the moral of this story? A. The wise can see through a villainous disguise. B. There's more than one way to skin a cat. C. Curiosity killed the cat. D. A cat has 9 lives. The answer is A.